I think what the capitalism in the state and those in authority have always been very fearful of and have always acted against consistently is actually people coming together. The mob, the crowd, has always been demonized. Places where people gather together, again in Britain that would be the pub or the tavern or the trade union meeting. Wherever people come together, the state is trying to separate, to control, to corral, to limit what the group can do. A mob is a bad term. There's never a good mob. It's never a convivial gathering. It's always a mob. It's they're unruly, they're uncontrollable, they're out of hand, they're criminal. So again, whenever people come together, the state tries to control it, to regiment it, to document it, to criminalize it. There has to be now CCTV cameras in every public space. Why? We're afraid of people coming together in a public space. Public spaces themselves are increasingly limited, closed down, enclosed. There's no longer public lands, there's no longer public spaces. Wherever people come together, that is seen in itself as a threat.
No matter what your purpose is, you must leave. If you do not disperse, you may be arrested and or subject to other police action. By order of the City of Pittsburgh Chief Police, I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.
Anarchism has always been the foe of authority, of injustice, and likewise, if authority accepts that there is a battle, there is a war, which again those in power have always been well aware that there is a war going on and they intend to win it. So unsurprisingly, throughout the history of the use of the term, anarchy and anarchism was used in a political context. Over the last 150 years, those that actually call themselves anarchists have been implacable foes of authority in any shape or guise. So it should be no surprise to anyone that, of course, authority is going to belittle it, besmirch it, deliberately misrepresent its ideas. Why would it do anything else?
There is a ruling class. That ruling class is composed of those who stand to benefit most from capitalism. But I don't think that necessarily means that power is exercised in secret behind closed doors and there are shadowy forces that we just, can't understand pulling the strings. A lot of it's very transparent. A lot of it's just very obvious. That doesn't make it any less noxious or frightening.
It's not that the mainstream media are some craven lackeys who are solely out to exploit everyone and they've been bought off and given us slightly few more crumbs of the pie. It's actually they genuinely believe that that's the way the world works and that the way the world currently works is correct and just and right and the way it ought to be. If one didn't believe that what the information they were giving out was correct, they wouldn't get to that position. They would have been weeded out or they would have given up long before they got to that position where they're giving out that kind of information. Power exists and perpetuates itself largely because most people think that that's the way it ought to be, that's the way it should be, and perhaps most important of all, that's the only way it could be. To think of any alternatives is actually almost beyond comprehension.